stop discussing beauty in the firelight. Your life is worth nothing in the long run. Do you still think so? What's something by to me? You've ruined everything for yourself. Something that the reason for your death. What the fuck is that? You're so living, it doesn't be away from you. You wanna never know you get nothing except violence. Violence on your face. Violence on your that's why it's okay now. Special legends of pain.
Son of a bitch, you're fucked! No, you're fucked! This is it! You fucking motherfucker! Switching up fucking beat though! Fucking pussies! You can never fucking kill me, you cowards! Cause I'm the fucking cursed one! Bitch! What's up, motherfuckers? This is it!
to others will just come back to you. Don't waste time trying to cover what you've been through. Every step you've taken, there's a path you can escape all the lies that you've been faking. 'Cause you might go blind if you keep closing your eyes to the things that you did that you don't realize. And so there's no place left for you to run to and hide from the things that you do, from the ripple on the inside. Cause you might go blind if you keep closing your eyes to the things that you did that you don't realize. And so there's no place left for you to run to and hide from the things that you do, from the ripple on the inside. From the ripple on the From the ripple on the inside.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday. I hope y'all like that change up of music. I think I shook chat up because you'd be like, "Holy shit, that's not Neal's normal music." What? Yes. I was hanging out in the green room with Beard Sack, and we were trying to figure out what's the good hype music for today. And I was like, you know what? We are going to change it up today. So that's what we did. Hope you like the music. Thanks so very much for tuning in. Welcome to yet another Friday. I got a reverb. There it is. Yeah, too much noise going on in the office. Yeah, I enjoyed the change to Hyperwork. It was pretty awesome. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to our Friday morning tea with a hacker. Cheers. Everybody join me. Good times. We've made it through another week. This week was a short week. It was a short week for me. I had a golf tournament on Monday, the 1st of 2025. And still I felt like this week went by super fast. It was good to get back out on the course for the first golf tournament of 2025. Did not play as well as I wanted to, but I had one of my golf first moments at the golf tournament on Monday. I had been stalking this course out. It was at a private country club, and so there was no practice round for this one. So I had to go in cold, and so part of my routine for golf tournaments, right, is I stalk the golf course. If I can go play there as a practice round, I'll go play there 10 times for a practice round if I absolutely can. Otherwise, I'll look at aerial photos. I'll read people's reviews on it. I'll take a look at every yardage chart that I can to get every advantage I can. Well, number 18 I knew was going to be a challenge for me because the tee shot required me to have a 250-yard carry over water. And that is one of the hardest tee shots ever to hit. Not only from like a speed perspective, but it is amazingly daunting to be looking across a body of water that you know is 250 yards long. You know that if you land it 1 yard short of 250 yards, that is 2-stroke penalty right there. You're dropping it, and you're trying to salvage something out of this hole. It's one of the hardest tee shots in golf. And so for the first time in 2 years of playing tournament golf, I did it, y'all. I did it. And I stepped up to the plate, put that tee on the tee peg, looked out across that water and said, "You're my bitch." Smashed that ball right across the water. Yeah, I was pretty proud of myself. What? Yeah, Happy Gilmore style. No, I did not Happy Gilmore style it, but what was that? July 25th, Happy Gilmore's coming out, something like that. Something around there. I'm not it may come as a shocker to you. I'm not a Happy Gilmore fan. I'm excited that there are I think there's a lot of good pro golfers that are showing up in Happy Gilmore, so I'm excited for them. I'm not necessarily a Happy Gilmore fan, but hopefully you like it. Hopefully it's good. Sidetrack, because that's what we do here on Friday mornings. Tea with a Hacker. We just kind of sit here, chat, chill, hang out for a little bit. It is our Friday morning AMA, so we do a ton of questions. Real quick on some rules, just because we have to do the rules so that we stay consistent, especially for our first-time chatters. If you are new to the stream, welcome. Drop in chat where you're from, whether you catch us across Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, or X. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Especially if you're a first-time chatter. If you're a first-time chatter, we have some very easy rules. They're super easy. They're not overly complicated. We do ask that you keep chat free of racist, sexist, misogynistic, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior. We have a zero tolerance for toxicity inside of chat. We do have moderators in chat. Our moderators do work for the low peanuts cost of compliments from Neal inside of Discord. And so please do be super respectful of the moderators in chat. They are here selflessly making sure that chat is indeed free of racist, sexist, misogynist, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior. With that being said, this is our Friday morning AMA stream, and so we do sit here and answer questions pretty much from everybody across the globe. We absolutely, utterly love to answer questions. It's one of the reasons why we set aside roughly a 2-hour block to sit here and answer all your questions. So if you're new here, great opportunity to get your questions answered. About anything. Red teaming, blue teaming, GRC, my golf, swing, my cancer, the status of my cancer treatments, literally anything. We're happy to sit here and talk about it. All we do is we just ask that you drop that question at any point in time. At any point in time, one of the moderators will grab the question. They will grab the question out of chat, and they will find one, and they'll push it up on screen. It'll kind of show up like this, and then I'll answer it. We do have one rule when it comes to questions. We do ask that you only ask your question once. We had somebody try to get super sneaky and ask the question once in YouTube and once in Twitch. Trust me, the moderators can see across both of those platforms and can see that the exact same question was asked in both platforms. That does not count as one question. That counts as two questions because we know it's phrased exactly the same. One time, I promise you, moderators do see it. And they love giving me questions, so don't worry about it. Drop any question you got anytime. I'll do a couple of announcements while the questions get racked up in the queue. Also, one more thing about questions. There is no order in which we ask questions. That's been a common question that has come up. Is like, I asked mine blah, 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 blah time ago. Why didn't mine get asked next? We don't go based on order. We go based on the flow of the stream. Right? We go based on the flow of the stream. We may start talking about something and then somebody else may ask a bunch of questions about the topic we're talking about. We will go down that rabbit hole with chat and we will exhaust it. That's one of the advantages of this being live is that I do take time to interact with chat. And so if you do hear me talk about something that you want to dive further into, it is absolutely best that you drop your question at the time that we're talking about said topic. I understand there's a delay. You'll catch me with some pauses and things like that. CyberSec Mom, good to see you as always. The order is ADHD. Absolutely, the order is ADHD. I'm glad to see CyberSec Mom using the message effects. I hadn't seen that one before. That one's pretty hot. Two other announcements. One's community related. Actually, I got a couple announcements that are community related. One's personal related. Just because Residual had asked, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, what the status of the Jeep was. I think some of you may have gone to my Instagram and saw that I posted pictures of, of my Jeep. I've got good news for my people who have been following my Jeep journey. So the Jeep went away in November. Not went away, like I didn't sell it. God, somebody please send help if I ever sell the Jeep. Cybersec Mom with starting the hype train off this morning. Thanks so very much, Cybersec Mom, for the gifted subs. We sent the Jeep off in November to get the 3.6 liter replaced out of it, and we've got a 6.4 liter Hemi V8 dropping into the Jeep, and the Jeep is getting delivered today with the 6.4 liter Hemi V8 in it. New shoes, four new shoes and an extra. So make sure you hit that exclamation point socials. Make sure you do hop on over to Instagram. There will be a reveal of the Jeep as it has been brought home. Thank you so much, Justin Dillon, for the membership over on YouTube. Appreciate that very much. So it did not get put on a dyno yet, Cybertize. I will probably look for another place around here to put it on a dyno. According to the crate specs, so I did find the SKU. For those who had asked, since we're on it, for those who had asked, we did find the SKU for the motor that they're putting in it. If you want to research it, if you're interested in this journey, it's America's Most Wanted. I got it up over here in this tab. Actually, I'll just drop. You know what? I'll just drop it into chat so you can kind of see. This is the SKU for the Jeep that's getting on there. The Jeep does not need a dyno. I've had the Jeep dynoed once before. I put a RIP supercharger on the Jeep, and I did dyno it when I put the RIP supercharger on there, and I was able to squeeze 350 horsepower, rear wheel horsepower delivered with the RIP supercharger on there. I don't know if I'm going to dyno this one or not. It would be interesting to know. I definitely would find it interesting to know what it dynos, but honestly, like, I'm just interested in it. But so that's awesome. So yeah, so if you are interested in that, if you want to see pictures of it, if you want to see video, if you want to hear the nice grumble sound, head on over to Instagram. Follow me over on Instagram, and that will be going up today as the Jeep gets delivered today. So I'm super excited for that. As I mentioned, thanks Cybersec Mom for the gifted subs. That is, that's a real treat for a lot of you, and let me explain why. And first and foremost, let's give credit where credit is due. Mr. Maz, if you've seen a lot of Maz in chat, has done 99% of this on his own. And so he deserves 99.9% of the credit. The other 1% goes to BeardSec for helping set up Discord so that it facilitates this. Again, just real true community effort from everybody, right? But after we had Chris Pogue, if you remember a couple Old Guy Wednesdays before, we had Chris Pogue on for digital forensics and incident response, and he was a wealth of knowledge. He was absolutely amazing, right? He was absolutely amazing. There were tons of people who thoroughly enjoyed seeing him on stream. Maz went out on his own. I mean, he asked for permission just to make sure that I was cool with it, and absolutely I said, if you organize this, 100% support it. But he went out and he invited Chris to come back to Cyber Insecurity in a very exclusive Q&A panel, almost in an AMA style, inside of Discord, right? And so this isn't going to be on stream. This isn't going to be, publicly advertised. This is going to be a very intimate setting inside of the Cyber Insecurity Discord, right? And so next Friday, March 14th at 8 p.m. during the normal Friday night sub chat time period, Chris Pogue will be back to hang out with you all in Friday night sub chat to basically do Friday night AMA with the community. So a very intimate setting inside a sub chat with which you can get some really special times. If you've got digital forensics, if you've got incident response, if you've got, just long-time cybersecurity questions, you want them on a very intimate level, I would highly encourage you to put next Friday, 8 p.m. on your calendar to come back. Now at 9 p.m., sorry, it's 8 p.m. on the screenshot he sent me. It's because he's in freaking Central Time, isn't it? Fucking Texas people. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Time zones are hard. Thank you, Brian. Yep. The reason that that's important and the reason that you guys can thank CyberSec Mom for the gifted subs is because you do have to be an active subscriber in Twitch or an active member in YouTube to participate in that event. That's what makes it exclusive, right? So those of you who got gifted subs from CyberSec Mom, she's always been out there working really, really hard to make sure that you guys get the benefits of this community. I've always appreciated her support in that regard. She knows that this thing is coming and she wants you guys to have the advantage. So you guys who got gifted subs, you guys have basically gotten a free pass. You guys have gotten a free pass to participate in this Friday night sub chat with Chris as well. So make sure you put that on your calendar, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, because time zones are hard. Make sure you thank CyberSec Mom for your gifted subs, but do make sure that you take advantage of being able to take this exclusive opportunity to hang out with Chris and ask him questions. I do believe there's an event in Discord inside the announcement section that has the event tagged in there, and it should show everybody in their local time zone what it is. Also, I think there's like an interested button on there, so you can click that interested button as well, and it should hopefully remind you. April over on LinkedIn says, why Discord? Because Discord is a great collaboration tool. One of the things that we are huge of in this community, yes, Justin, members on YouTube are the same. We're huge about community, April, and some of the best ways to participate in the community, right, if you will, with other cybersecurity professionals is through some type of collaboration platform. We do very heavily leverage Discord. We always have. Discord is our collaboration platform, and so that's why Discord. So again, we just highly encourage you to community-ize. Can we coin that? Community-ize with your fellow cyber insecurity knights. And yes, Justin Dillon said members on YouTube the same. Yes, make sure that when you so with that being said, right, when you're on Discord, make sure that you do link your Twitch and your YouTubes to your Discord name. That way you can it automatically recognizes your memberships and your subscribers. But again, when you see Maz, make sure that you absolutely thank him. He 100% went out of his way. He set this up on his own. He did all the outreach. Oh, that's right. There's a giveaway too. Thank you for the reminder on that. In addition to Chris coming into sub chat, there is also a 3-book bundle giveaway. Right? There's also a 3-book bundle giveaway. So there will also be a giveaway that night as well. So lots of things happening. Lots of things happening that we want you guys to get out of that deal. So excited for that. I think I hit everything there. But yeah, if you see Mike, if you see Maz, make sure you give him huge props. He's the one who led this and set this up. All right, I think that was it. I think that was the big announcement that I had. Next week I'm in New Orleans for FSISAC. So if you were in the greater New Orleans area, reminder, if I'm in your neighborhood next week, you have a free opportunity to get some mentorship with me. Okay, I need you to reach out to me in DMs. My calendar is filling up. I will be there from Sunday night until Wednesday morning. So if you're in the New Orleans area, if you find your way into the New Orleans area, if you feel like you can make your way into the New Orleans area and you want some time with me, reach out to me before it's too late and get some time with me, and let's have a one-on-one. It's free, no charge. I love meeting folks from the community. Just let me know. We will still do Tea with a Hacker next week. We will also still do the threat brief, but it'll probably be Thursday. Will I ever come to Sweden? I hope so. I absolutely hope so. It's been a long time since I've been to Sweden. Who did the swap? Ruby Trucks. Ruby Trucks did the swap. Fix It would absolutely love that. I know I've got at least 2 fans in Sweden who'd absolutely love it. I'd love to go to Sweden as well. This was a question from pre-chat. Again, like I love the pre-chat questions as well. Pre-chat questions are always awesome. GRC or pen test? Listen, as a former NSA hacker, did pen testing, the better part of the first half of my career outside of the military. Did pen testing work all the way up until 2017, somewhere around in there as a job title. I can unequivocally tell you that if you want to succeed in your career and make loads of money, GRC is the way to go. Look at that. You can tell it's going to be a caffeinated morning because we're 51 minutes into the stream and I have emptied my cup of coffee. It's time to move to backup caffeine number 1. Backup caffeine number 1. Listen, let's fair question. What is GRC? Let's do this one, right? GRC is governance, risk, and compliance. Governance, risk, and compliance. Now, if you had to think about what the role of cybersecurity is in an organization, cybersecurity's role is to govern the cybersecurity strategies for the entire organization, risk manage the business decisions as opposed to the cyber threat landscape, and ensure compliance at a technological and cybersecurity posture with applicable laws and regulations. Right? And so if GRC as a function inside of a security team has all of that, then GRC is a natural feeder into what it takes to be leadership in the cybersecurity arena. There is no path. Somebody else asked in chat for pathing. There is no path from pen test to CISO. Right? In most organizations, again, I'm not talking about edge cases, but in most cases, there is no path from pen testing to CISO. Mostly because most large organizations have a very small pen testing team anyway. Pen testing supports all the other functions inside of a cybersecurity organization. And just Winter Jolt absolutely says, where I'm at, I do pen testing and GRC technically, so it's possible to do both. Absolutely. Technically, where I'm at Query, I am the CISO, the incident responder, the threat hunter, the pen tester, the vulnerability management person, and the GRC analyst. That's what I mean by edge cases. It is absolutely possible, depending on the size and the shape of your organization, that you could be fortuitous to be able to wear multiple hats. Fortuitous, I say. Sometimes it can be a real pain in the ass. Right? But in most cases, that's not the situation. I'll give you an example. I was at a large financial customer last week when I was in New York. And they absolutely had their own pen testing team. They also had their own incident response team. They had their own threat hunting team. They had their own GRC team. They had their own teams for everything. And those teams are very individualized and very siloed and very specific to the things that they need to do. That's what I mean by, outside of edge cases, there is no path where it is GRC and pen test together leading upwards for the career. Is that because GRC is part of the direct roadmap to management or director level positions? The short answer to that, Cyberties, is yes. There's a longer answer to that. We know cybersecurity is hard. We've talked ad nauseum about how cybersecurity is hard. Right? We've talked ad nauseum about how cybersecurity is hard. It's twice as hard, maybe more, to get the rest of the organization bought in to doing cybersecurity. I think we can all agree to that. When we see, vulnerabilities persist forever, when we see, we see people have a hard time patching, we see people making dumb decisions about what to expose to the internet, right? Getting people to stop doing things that are natural to them and getting them to do things that are more natural to us in security is difficult and challenging, right? And so governance, risk, and compliance individuals, the folks who do that, they fit directly, right? They fit directly with that job function that has to work externally to the cybersecurity organization to help influence change. Right? I'll give you a couple examples, right? You do a policy, you want to do a policy that says RDP, can't be open to the internet. Since I see Brian's comment there, I'll use that one as an example. Right? You want to write a policy that says we're going to stop people from doing RDP open to the internet. I realize how silly that sounds, but let's say that you want to do that policy. You can't just write the policy and put it out into the organization. It does not work like that. I know it may seem like it works like that if you're new to cyber or if you've not been exposed to that part of the organization. It's not like a presidential executive order where you just sign it and it just goes and starts working. It doesn't work like that in an organization. I'm sorry if that busts your bubble, but that's not how cyber organizations work. If you do that, you will be the most hated person and nobody will ever want to work with you ever again. So I'm sorry if that breaks hearts. What you have to do is you have to say, I think the risk of RDP to the internet is this. Right? And then you have to go get organizational support across the entire enterprise to get them to agree that yes, RDP is a risk to the enterprise. And then once you've got the organizational buy-in that they agree that RDP open to the internet is a risk to the enterprise, then you can then start to champion, I think we need a policy that starts to shut down RDP access to the internet. And then so forth and so on through the implementation process. So when you look at that, think about that. Whose job description do you think that most likely aligns to in a security organization? A CISO's job, right? A leader's role, a director's role, right? That's why GRC positions are most easily aligned with people who have upward mobility and want to be that leader in an organization. And that's okay. Listen, we've had this conversation on stream before, right? We've had this conversation on stream before. Not everybody wants to be a leader. I'm not here to tell you that you have to want to be a leader. But if you have it in your desire that you would like upward mobility, and let me tell you that some of the CISO payrolls out there are pretty freaking good, right? You've got to start aligning yourself with business objectives. Right? You've got to start aligning yourself with business objectives. And the first place to do that is to realize that you have to start by first realizing that you can't just do this. I love this, by the way. Comment of the year right here. You have to start aligning yourself with business objectives. And listen, like it's let me tell you something, right? And this is just Neal's experience. Take it for what it is, right? I very much had this mentality when I left the military and came to the outside. I 1,000% had this mentality when I left. I yelled at my first security director because I had just come from the military. I had just had my hands on intelligence that said Iranian threat actors were targeting financial institutions. I was working for a financial institution, and I was yelling at a security director that we needed to protect ourselves against Iranian threat actors, and he laughed at me. And I was like, why are you not taking me seriously? Because as a business leader, there's nothing you can do about Iranian threat actors. That's what it took me years to realize, that there's nothing you can do about Iranian threat actors. Right? You used a word in here that I want to, I want to make sure that we talk about in this response, right? I love this. Let's talk about this really quickly, right? To be a cyber leader in an org, you have to become subservient to the org's goals and the people making those decisions. I don't agree with the word subservient. That's the only part of this statement that I don't agree with. It is not subservient to the org's goal. Let me say that expressly clear. If you are asked to be a cyber leader, and you feel that you are subservient to the org's goal, you're in the wrong org. I can't tell you some of the risk decisions I've made for Query because it would violate my own employee contract, right? So I say that to say, right, understand that compromise, understand that enabling the business to take risk, understand that finding compensating controls is not subservient to the organization's goals. Right? I like somebody said, yeah, Outcast said it best. Aligned would be a better word. Like, I would definitely change this. You have to become aligned with the organization's goals. Your job in cyber, at whatever level you're at, right? From CISO down to the security analyst, down to the pen tester, and I'll say it 1,000 times over. Quote me on it. Enable the business to take risk. That is your job. Your job is to enable the business to take risk. Write it on a postcard, get it put on a t-shirt, put it on a hat, write it on a post-it note that you put onto your monitor. Your job is to enable the business to take risk. And the best way to enable the business to take risk is to have an aligned, pragmatic approach to the organization's goals. That does not mean that you are subservient to allowing RDP on the internet. Let's say that unequivocally. That does not mean you are subservient to allowing RDP on the internet. What I think sometimes happens with cybersecurity, this is definitely how I perceive some of you as you're coming up through the ranks. This is absolutely how I perceive some of you. I'm the smartest person in the world. I'm a cybersecurity professional. Oh my God, they've got RDP open to the internet. You need to shut that down right now because I'm cyber and threat actors can hack into it and that's bad, so you got to shut it down now. And then when the business goes, no, you go, oh, my pearls. You told me no. How dare you? And you get all uptight because somebody said no to you because your only argument was hackers can hack into it. And then you come up and say, well, I'm just being subservient. I know you didn't mean it like this, Dosco. I'm picking on you a little bit. I know you didn't particularly mean it like this, but then you come up with this mentality that says that you're subservient to the org. Right? Because they didn't just listen to you on RDP being open to the internet. And really what has happened is that you have failed to communicate to the organization. April over on LinkedIn says that that's a terrible argument, to be honest. Drop your argument, April, inside a chat. I'd love to hear what your argument is. I've been in this industry for well over 20 years. I'm a very opinionated individual. I'm more than happy to argue with you on my opinionated view. That's what we're all here for, is to have a constructive, opinionated view. But I very much wholeheartedly, vehemently agree with this view, right? That some of you don't understand that enabling the business to take risk means sometimes you'll get your way and sometimes you won't. What you have to do is you have to find and communicate to the org the best way that if they want to take risk, to do so in the most secure fashion possible. You can always tell when I'm on a soapbox, or I can always tell because like I'll say something to you guys and then I'll get a text message from Carmen. I just got a text message from Carmen from her office is literally on the other side of this wall. Text message from Carmen was like, LOL, what are you enacting over there? She can hear me acting up over here. Please do not ever feel Joe Hudson. Oh, chat, give some W's in chat for Joe Hudson over on LinkedIn. It's good to see you, buddy. Long time no see. I miss you, dude. We got to have you back sometime. I totally lost my train of thought there. Oh, if you're truly feeling subservient in an org, please try to influence change in your org. Try to have a more positive impact on your org. Or if the worst case happens, you have to bounce out. But you should never, ever feel like you are subservient to an org. Great question on this from Demonics. Right? Fantastic questions. You guys using a framework like NIST to help with all this. So I'm gonna do a Pirates of the Caribbean quote on this one, right? Frameworks are more like guidelines than rules, right? Outside of specific regulations like CCPA, GDPR, right, PCI DSS, HIPAA, things like that. Outside of regulatory mandates, NIST and other guidelines should be adapted to your organization, right? There is not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to those regulations. And so, yes, with a caveat, right? Yes, you should go and understand NIST. And there are tons of great people that are doing NIST content, right? Go look at Jax. I know Jax is doing a ton of NIST content, right? Jason and I from BitLift have talked about what some CMMC content would look like, because we do think that content is important and there's a need for education there. But one of the things that I think has to be taught with that education is how do you apply it with specific caveats to your business in mind so that you can adopt them to your business. Right? You have to be able to look at a control, or you have to be able to look at a recommendation, and then you have to be able to take a step back from that recommendation and say, okay, this is the big thing. Listen to me. Keep chatting about this in chat. Compadium says this perfectly, right? I'm going to expand upon this, right? You have to look at a controller, you have to look at a recommendation inside a NIST, and you have to be able to turn around and say, okay, NIST says that I should adopt zero trust for my cloud environments. Well, I'm a SaaS company providing an e-commerce solution to the internet, and all of my developers are 100% remote and, have to work in the cloud. How do I take that control, or how do I take that recommendation, and how do I apply it in the business construct of what it is that I'm doing so that my business can still do business, but I'm adhering to the spirit of the control? You see what I did there? Does anybody not understand kind of that distinction as you look at those controls? I was just having this conversation. I won't rat out who it was, but I've got a director of IT who is effectively the CISO for a small org, who recently was going through some SOC 2 work, and I had heard that they had forced the organization into 90-day password resets. Right? They had forced the entire org into 90-day password resets. And I was like, but even the NIST guideline has started to remove time periods around password resets because the guidance has become clear that frequent password resets do not equate to better security postures. Right? And so that's an example of an org that is not looking to adapt NIST guidelines to their business practices. So yes, use some. The bottom line is use some framework. Use some framework. Right? Please use some framework, but make sure that you're using it as a guideline. Make sure you're using it as a way to look at your organization and say, how would this best benefit my organization, as opposed to, the 10 Commandments or something like that. Just since you brought up, you invoked the password things, right? Like, so, and again, this is a great point to talk about here, right? However, practice rotating your passwords once a month is good in my opinion. Otherwise, it's hard to do when it's crunch time. Maybe. Why do you need to rotate your passwords when it's crunch time? right? Why do you need to practice your passwords once a month? Let me give you an example. Are you going to ask 250,000 employees across your company to rotate their passwords once a month? Think about an org that's super large. They can't rotate their passwords once a month. And then you're going to add stupid rules on top of it that say that it can't be the same 15, it can't be one of the last 15 passwords that you put in place. And so now you've got a new password that you have to remember every single month. Right? This is an example. This is an example of why cybersecurity is impractical when you do not take the business needs into consideration. Right? There is zero use to this. It might be, this is the textbook example. I'm not picking on you. I want you to understand I'm not picking on you, but let's talk about the comment. This is an example where we as cybersecurity professionals think very textbook about the cyber threat landscape and say, well, attackers are smart. Attackers are using AI. Quantum computing is on the horizon. Breaches happen every day. Therefore, our response is every employee must change their password every month. And then I ask you, cool, I like where your head's at. You are now the security leader in charge of a security organization with 250,000 employees, some of which 33% work on a manufacturing line with computers and systems that can't have their password reset, and with users who can't reset their password every day or every month. What do? Thank you, Zero Day, for the follow, or for the follow and for the raid. Thank you very much. Happy to see you guys. Right? We have to think about, listen, I know you're going to hate this. God, I know you're going to hate this. I feel you. I really do. But you have to think about the user. You have to think about the business. If you are in charge of a security organization for a 250,000 person company, and you tell them that you are going to practice resetting your passwords every month for good practice, you will be the most hated cybersecurity person and nobody will ever want to work for you. Ever again. Ever again. That was a soapbox moment. Again, ask the questions. I'm not picking on you for the comment, but I want to take this opportunity to talk about this, right? Because this is exactly why we need to talk about it. This is the difference between what you're taught in school, what you interpret from what you're taught in school, versus real security in the real world. And that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about real security practices, not fake bullshit, not bullshit from influencers who have been in the industry for 5 fucking minutes. We're not here to talk about like what the fucking CEH says or what some stupid ass professor at a university taught you. Real security would have you fired if you implemented a 1-month password rotation in an org with 250,000 people. I went from soapbox to being really pissed off. YubiKeys are a great opportunity, are a great idea. I do think YubiKeys are awesome. I saw that. I do think YubiKeys. Listen, like there are advancements in passwords that I think are absolutely awesome. I do think that there is a world where passwordless is something that we could potentially see in the future. Just ban Microsoft macros and email. I wish I could ban email, but for different reasons. Absolutely, for different reasons. Yeah, Carmen may not have heard the F-bomb. I don't have banging on the door coming from back here. Oh, I love it. I love it. Lots of good comments. We can keep, like I said, I'm passionate about this because I was once like you. Right? I'm passionate about this because I was once like you. That's why I can empathize with it. I'll say this as the old guy in the room, right? Maturing in cyber is realizing that your techno kung fu doesn't mean shit to the business. Maturing in cyber is realizing that until you can talk to users in the business in a way that helps them understand why your techno kung fu is the best, so that they listen to you, that's the superpower of security. That's the superpower of security. I wholeheartedly believe that. Pivot a little bit. We'll do this one on YouTube from Uday. What are your thoughts on bug bounties' future work? Listen, I think bug bounties are an insane, need in our space, right? I think bug bounties, right? I think bug bounties are unpaid pen tests. I've said that before. I'll say it again. I'll say it 100 times over. Right? I think bug bounties are unpaid pen tests. If you are an aspiring pen tester right now, I'm going to say this really slowly for those in the back. If you are hearing my voice right now in this live stream across Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, or X, or you hear this in a VOD, or Jens makes a clip of this, if you are not, right this very second, having a user profile on HackerOne and BugCrowd and on the wait list for Synac, notice I did not say a cert. Notice I did not say what cert you needed. Notice that I did not classify this with any level of classification. If you are in high school and you have a desire to be a pen tester and you're hearing my voice and you are not on those 3 platforms today, you have no business asking me in chat about any pen testing questions. You know why? Because those platforms allow you to sign up today to do bug bounty programs with 0 credentials. You do not need a cert. You do not need CEH. You do not need OSCP. You do not need blah, 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 vomit, vomit, vomit. You do not need any of that. You can go to those platforms today, start a profile, and participate in public bug bounties today. And if you have not taken that initiative to go do that today, to start your pen testing career, you are already on the wrong road. Because today, you can be on those platforms today and you can be doing approved, sanctioned, scope limited penetration testing for Fortune 100 orgs today. Today. So when you talk about the coveted experience, why not go to a bug bounty platform where you have a scope, a Fortune 100 company, and authorization to conduct a penetration test against that org? Now, do you understand why I'm so vehement about this? Literally, the industry through capitalism has handed you on a silver platter the perfect way to get real-world pen testing experience in this industry. Do you think, let me, and before some pleb shows up in my chat being like, well, what if you don't find anything? Do you think that you're going to be a pen tester on a real engagement that finds something every single time? Because if you do, guess what? That's myth number 2 about pen testing that I'm here to bust for you. If you think that you will be on every pen test and you will always find something, that is the second myth that we'd like to bust on pen testing for sure. You will not find things on every pen test that are worthy of a write-up. So when you put those things into perspective, this is why Neal says, one of Neal's rules of cyber, bug bounties are just unpaid pen test. You are assigned a scope. You are given a target. You can use whatever tools you want to, and you have to do a write-up. Guess what? That's a pen test. Love this, right? Love this. God, I can't believe you've been with us for 5 years. Can't believe you've been with us for 5 years. 5 years ago, I was listening to this show doing bug bounties. Now it works for DHS. Go do bug bounty. Like, I don't know how much more of a testament that you need. Right? I'm not full of shit. Maybe, would it be better if I had a flipper zero while I was telling you this? Would that make me more credible? Would it be more credible if I was in a hoodie doing this? Would that make me more credible? Is that what the industry is telling me? Is that the only way that I'm credible, is if I'm like in a hoodie with a flipper zero? I'm sorry I'm not doing flipper zero content to make me more credible. Thank you, Compadian, for 5 years worth of loyal viewership. It's always good to see you in chat. Oh, this great question over on YouTube. How do you consider the impact analysis of a security patch, not the vulnerability? That's a deep question. That's a super deep question. Right? It's a great question. Before you can determine impact analysis, just that part of it, do you know enough about the assets? Do you know enough about the business? Do you know enough about things like crown jewels? Have you done a crown jewels assessment? Right? Things like that. To do an impact analysis of a security patch, you have to know a lot of factors. Right? your head's in the right spot. You're asking the right question, but there's so much business context that you need to inform that decision. Does it sit on a manufacturing line? Okay, yes. If it sits on a manufacturing line, what's the uptime on that manufacturing line? Right? Does that manufacturing line have to be running 24/7 for 29 days and then it gets 1 day of maintenance a month? Okay, can you schedule that security patch for that 1 day of maintenance a month? And do you have what you need to verify from a testing environment that if you apply that security patch to that one machine that only comes down once a month, that the next day when the machine comes back up, it's not going to stop the manufacturing line? Right? Those are things that go into that impact analysis. Right? Those are those things that go into that impact analysis. So this is where, when we talk about having that business context and being able to speak that business speak, it's super important. I like where your head's at. There's a lot to this. We couldn't cover, we could make an entire show, and maybe we should, on impact analysis and risk and things like that. But I would start with business context. That's the key one. Is it normal to feel you aren't good enough in pen test and there are people better than you and I don't know if I can get a job? Yes, I've got an imposter syndrome video. If somebody wants to link it somewhere, there's an imposter syndrome video hanging around somewhere. Right? Thank you, Beardsec. I appreciate that. Watch this video. I give you 4 actionable things in this video that you can do to help deal with imposter syndrome. So I'd start with that, right? I'd definitely start with that. Everybody gets hit with imposter syndrome. Everybody. I do to this day. If I told you every single time that I was outside my comfort zone, even at query, you would be mind blown at the things that still make me uncomfortable today, that still make me feel like an imposter today. It happens to all of us. It's not just about pen test. It happens to you no matter your seniority, no matter the role you play. And if anybody tells you that they never feel like an imposter, I would call bullshit 9 ways to Sunday. Right? This industry, and I say this I say this with all honesty, this industry is the easiest one for you to absolutely feel like you don't know what it is that you're doing. Absolutely, hands down. Right? You're asked to solve you're asked to solve a problem. You're asked to solve a problem and you're like, I have no freaking clue how to solve this problem. So you go to Google. You search on Google and you either get shit answers or you get some fluff from a YouTube personality who doesn't know shit about fuck, or you find nothing and you're like, holy cow, this did not answer my question at all. And you're like, if I couldn't find this on the internet, if nobody else knew the answer to this, am I the first one to try to solve that? And if I'm the first one to try to solve that, and I don't even know what I'm doing, how the fuck am I going to solve this problem? And it spirals out of control. So yes, it is perfectly, this is why I did a video on it. Right? This is why I did a video on it. Right? Because I felt like it was something that people needed a tool to deal with, which is why I gave you 4 things that you can do in my video to help you kind of like cope with imposter syndrome? The biggest thing is to remember, and this is I'll give you a real world example from when I took my first real director role with Abbott back in 2016, right? So it's been 10 years now, right? This was my first really big role, working as a senior executive, deputy CISO for a Fortune 100 company. When I joke about 250,000 employees, that's how big Abbott is. Global organization. We were making Similac for babies. We were making Pedialyte for kids. We were making Insure for seniors. We were putting pacemakers into people's hearts. We were putting brain implants into people's brains all across the globe. The sheer weight of the responsibility that I had to monitor, defend, and protect that organization, I will not even begin to lie to you, crushed me. I seriously sat there and was like, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this. What if I mess up? What if I don't know what to do? I know that I have to do it. I know that there's no turning back. I can't just like walk in there and be like, yo, I'm out. Right? Like, I can't do this. It paralyzed me for a good couple weeks when I first took on the role, because it felt so daunting to work at such a high level at an organization like that. And it didn't matter that I just got done. I just left PwC and I'd just been consulting, right? I'd just been consulting and advising CISOs on the exact same thing that I'd just gotten hired to do full time, right? That didn't matter to me. What mattered to me is that I now sat in the pilot seat and I now had to execute. And I think the first thing that I did, and the one thing that really drove the point home for me about imposter syndrome, was that somebody believed in me enough to give me the chance. Somebody hired me for that role. Somebody sat down with me. Somebody interviewed me. Several people interviewed me. And at the end of the day, they all came together and said, this person can get it done. And you have to realize that sometimes that's a really huge motivator for a lot of your imposter syndrome, right? I saw you made the comment, Fraser, about your interview, right? You're in that interview because somebody believed in you to put you in that seat, right? And that's what I would start with. That's what I would absolutely start with in your mentality, is that you have to believe in yourself and that somebody else believes in you too, even if you don't. But it has to start with you. It has to start with you. All right? Go watch the video on imposter syndrome. I think the video on imposter syndrome is awesome. Obviously, I made it. But it is. There's some stuff in there that will absolutely help you get through it. Let me be the first to tell you, if you need to clip this and you need to save it to your desktop, get ready with that clipping function. You can clip on YouTube. You can clip on Twitch. Let me speak directly to you. Yes, you. Aspiring cybersecurity professional, 20-year veteran, wherever you are, today, wherever you're at in this journey, I believe in you. With all my heart, I believe in you. Take that and go do something awesome with it. But I believe in you. Drag it off. I feel like I'm an imposter watching Cyber Insecurity as I don't follow a lot of what you're talking about. Ask the question. Ask the question if you got it, right? Ask the question if you got it. We try to... This isn't the first time we heard this. I remember the first time that we had Joel on stream. Joel was probably one of the first super big thinkers that we had. If you've not seen any of our Joel Fulton videos, you should absolutely go watch some of the Joel Fulton videos. I had somebody message me afterwards that was like, you guys talked for 3 hours and I didn't understand a single word of it, but I've never been more intrigued by something I didn't understand for 3 hours than I ever have been. Right? And part of that is because, again, getting back to what I said before, there's so much more to cyber. There's so much more to cyber than hacking. There's so much more to cyber than the technology. There's so much more to cyber than fighting off threats and putting in firewall rules and blocking shit on the internet, right? Phishing exercises and things like that. There's so much more. And if there was anything that I would want you guys to remember this channel for, is that you get to see as much of the aspects of cyber through my network, through my series of connections, through all the experience that I've got. I want to bring all of that to you. And that culminates with experiences like this thing that Maz has done, right? Just a reminder, next Friday, so just in case you weren't aware, we did bring back sub chat. We should have Joe on again. Joel is what you meant. Maz gets massive W's in chat. Right? He went out, coordinated with Chris Pogue, got Chris Pogue committed to being here next Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central, for a very exclusive, private, one-on-one, one-on-many, type of chat inside a Discord with you, the cyber insecurity community. It is exclusive to you and the cyber insecurity community. Maz gets all the credit for that. He did it. But that's an opportunity not just to hear it on stream. I know what I covered in 2 hours that I had with Chris, and I covered what I thought was important, but maybe I didn't cover something. Maybe you have something burning on your mind that you'd really like in a more intimate setting. This is your opportunity to do it. This is your opportunity to do it. That's what we're all about here. Oh, it's a great question from Haikiri in Twitch. How do you get that knowledge that will allow you to know when to take risk? Great question. Great question. Anybody ever bought a house? Bought a car? Made a super big purchase? Anybody ever got married? Made a lifelong commitment to a partner? Whether you know it or not, those were all risky decisions. Maybe you see it, maybe you don't. But those were all risky decisions. Ask yourself, did you know everything that you needed to know to make that risky decision? Chances are you probably didn't. Chances are you probably found out a little bit later that you didn't know everything you needed to. Sometimes maybe you made the decision and it worked out even though you didn't know everything. right? And sometimes it did work out when you didn't know as much as you thought you needed to. And that's my point, right? You'll never know. You'll never have the knowledge that you need to make a non-risky decision. Part of what makes the decision risky, is that there is an element of unknown to it. And so what I've always tried to live by is a very intelligence-centric mindset. Right? Try to gather as much of the information as humanly possible. Try to gather as much of the information that is available to you. Try to weigh it based on the best amount of factors that you can. But this next part is super critical. Do not get tied up in the analysis of risk. Do not get tied up in the analysis of risk. This is what we refer to as analysis paralysis. If you get tied up in the analysis of risk, you'll never make a decision. Whether it's a good decision or a bad decision, you'll never make any of that because you'll be so tied up with analyzing the risk. This is what we refer to as the OODA loop. Did we ever do a video on OODA loop? I'm not sure if we did or not. Right? Military term. I'm going to do some military education for those who... Thank you. Awesome. Fantastic. We did so many videos. Holy shit. How the hell do you remember these commands? There's a video on OODA loop. Go watch the video on OODA loop, right? Observe, orient, decide, and act. Right? Use that in your risk decision making. Observe what's going on around you. Orient yourself to the scenario. And then very, very quickly make a decision. Once you have made the decision, act even faster. Right? You'll never have all the knowledge. But you can observe and orient yourself as quickly as possible so that you can then make a decision and act. But Neal, what if I fail? What if the decision is bad? What if I risk analyzed? What if I risk analyzed wrong or incorrectly? That's fine. It happens all the time. Right? It happens all the time. I think I saw somebody in chat say it. The marker of a good leader is to fail quickly. What the fuck did Neal just say? Fail fast. Make a decision. Execute the decision. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, don't lament about it. Learn from it. Adjust and execute. That's what we mean by failing fast. Right? Do not get caught. So one of the things, let's talk just a tiny bit about failure. Failure is a rough word. I've gotten into a lot of trouble of the use of failure. Maybe this is my military background. Maybe this is what my NCOs and senior NCOs have taught me over the years, and I'm okay with that. Failure is not a bad word. I think we've deviated slightly from, the reality of failure. Failure happens all the time. We should not be afraid of failure, and we should not be afraid of the word failure. I'll oftentimes joke, mission failed successfully. Right? Mission failed successfully. We should not be afraid of failure. What I think people get caught up in is that they don't realize that the success in failure is about quickly overcoming it to get to success. Fail fast, and execute. Saul Beardsec say it. Failing is just removing an unsuccessful option from your list. 1,000%. 1,000%. You're learning one more way on how not to do something. That's not grind mindset. That's not anything like that. This is a pragmatic approach to accepting the inevitability that you will not be right all the time. You will not be right all the time. That's why it's a risk decision, because you have to take a risk. And I go back to my leadership conversation. Good leaders don't know how to execute without fail. Let me say that again. Good leaders are not good leaders because they flawlessly and without failure execute. Good leaders know how to quickly make informed decisions and rapidly adjust to the challenging environments around them. And so learning how to lead through failure is the strongest characteristic of a leader. Please don't be afraid to make risks. Please don't be afraid to take risk. Like, if I had to leave you with one thing, this job market sucks. How do we go from risk to job market? I'll tell you here in a second. I was reading a terrible stat the other day, and it saddens me to say this. I've shared this stat with a couple people. 73% of job postings out there are ghost job postings. 73%. Well, you know what, Neal? At 73%, there's no point in me applying for a job, Neal. So let's put that in risk terms. I don't want to risk applying for a job that has a 73% chance of not being real. Let's change that. I don't want to take the risk of applying for one of the 27% of the jobs that are real. Which mentality do you want to take? If you're going to take the risk on the 27%, Callie, you read my mind. How do you mitigate that risk? How do you mitigate that risk through the things that you do to make yourself successful? That's how you take risk in a risk-informed world. If you know that only 27% of the jobs are real, how do you take risk that increases your chances of being successful? That's what you have to do. There is more risk by not executing than there is by executing. Michael over on YouTube says, would you say that the CISO role at Abbott was your most challenging role? If not, which role has been? I don't know fundamentally that I know which role was ever my most challenging. I could identify challenges with every role I've ever had. My role at Abbott was a lot of new challenges, right? My role at Abbott was a lot of new challenges. And they gave me a lot of opportunity to succeed, and I think I capitalized on those opportunities pretty well. But just to give you an example, so I don't know if I've ever told this story about how I went from Abbott to Mondelez. Mondelez, for those who don't know, think Oreo cookies, Toblerone, Nabisco, I think. I can't remember. They got some other crap. They've got some other, but basically like a lot of those food brands, right? So Abbott Laboratories, Health and Life Sciences, right? Mondelez, Oreo cookies. Like that was the shift in transition, right? And so I'd been at Abbott for a number of years. And I built the entire org up from scratch. We had done a lot. We'd acquired 2 companies. We had expanded our security ops team to be Follow the Sun. I had offices in Romania. I had offices in Singapore. I had offices in India. I had a massive team. And this was when WannaCry had happened. And WannaCry happened, and Mondelez had one of their manufacturing sites get hit pretty hard with WannaCry. And Zurich, who's an insurance company, had basically denied their claim because some dumbass in politics, we're not a political stream, we don't talk about politics, but I can generally say some dumbass in politics, had said on the news that it was an act of war. And Zurich, thinking that they had the autonomy to agree with them, turned right around to Mondelez and said, because somebody in politics said that this was an act of war, we're not going to cover your insurance policy because it was an act of war. I immediately ran to LinkedIn. You can still find this article up on LinkedIn on my profile, and absolutely trashed the hell out of that entire decision process. I thought it was the most stupidest thing I'd ever heard, especially being former military. I thought it was the most stupidest thing I'd ever heard in my entire life. That was 2016, I think it was. 2017, sometime when I did that. Fast forward to, I think it was summer-ish of 2019, and I had gone to a vendor event at the Chicago Blackhawks hockey game. Now, I don't know crap about hockey, but I will never turn down a vendor who wants to treat me to a penthouse booth at the Blackhawks hockey game. Never turn that down. It was so much fun. So anyway, BlackBerry, I think it was. This was after their Cylance acquisition. You get a sense for how long I've been in this industry, right? Cylance had just gotten bought by BlackBerry. BlackBerry had invited me to a hockey game at the Blackhawks stadium, and I cared nothing else other than I wanted to talk to somebody about what they realistically thought Cylance could offer BlackBerry, right? Cylance was an EDR vendor. BlackBerry was a mobile phone vendor. What in the hell did they think that acquisition was going to do with them? So I went. Upon being in that booth, I was around a bunch of CISOs in the greater Chicago area, and one of those CISOs was Paulo Velote, who had been brought in from Daimler Chrysler. This was before Stellantis had bought them, obviously. He was the CISO at Daimler Chrysler. He had gotten brought into Mondelez post WannaCry to basically do, security org rebuild post WannaCry breach at Mondelez. So he and I were chatting, and I introduced myself to him, and he goes, "Oh, I read your piece on the Zurich lawsuit." Now, there's a couple of things that happen to you as a person when somebody says that they've read a piece of your content. I want to share that with you because anytime you put shit out on the internet, people are either going to love it or hate it. The internet is just that way. People are either going to love it or hate it. And so, yes, your first mentality when somebody says, oh, I read your piece, is like, oh, shit. This is either going to be good or bad for me, and I have no idea which one it is. It ended up being good. We ended up talking through it. He ended up agreeing and agreeing with my take on it. Told me there was a lot of behind the scenes that were going on, but fundamentally, he liked my take on it. We shook hands, we shared a lot of stories, and we parted ways that night. Unbeknownst to me, he went out and researched the hell out of me. He talked to every vendor that I worked with. He talked to people at Abbott. He talked to people inside of my network that knew me. And a couple months later, I get a text from him. And he says, hey, can we do lunch? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. We can do lunch. Let's do some lunch. And he says, this is when he tells me that he researched the hell out of me. This is when he tells me that he did some digging on me. He goes, everybody that I've talked to has told me what you've built over at Abbott over the course of 3 years. And I was, again, you when people do this, you're kind of like, oh boy, is this good or bad? And so we sat there at lunch and we talked a little bit about it. He talked about some of the decisions I'd made. He asked me what caused me to make those decisions. He asked me what I thought on. Long story short, he offered me a job. He said, you've got such a great reputation. You've done such great work at Abbott. Everybody loves you. Everybody has raved about the work that you did at Abbott. I want to invite you to come to Mondelez, do the exact same thing that you did at Abbott, but I want you to do it in 1 year. And I want you to do it with 1/3 of the budget. And that was pretty daunting. And so when you ask me about challenging roles that I've had, I would say that I've never not taken a challenging role in cyber. But they've all been slightly more challenging or slightly different levels of challenges that I've had to endure. And I think that that's what makes, when you find your groove in cyber, I think that's what makes cyber awesome, is that you get an opportunity to take on new and different challenges across your career. And you quite frankly can't predict those challenges. You'll never be able to predict them. I never could have predicted, right? I never could have predicted going from PwC to Abbott. I never could have predicted going from Abbott to Mondelez. I never would have predicted going from Mondelez to INE. And I never would have predicted going from INE to Query. Right? But each one of those came with a unique set of challenges that, and this is what I think is important about this question. And I had a talk recently with a coachee. I may have mentioned this a couple weeks ago, where we talk about adventure in your career. And this is one of the things, this is what I love about cyber as a career, right? What I love about cyber as a career, anybody old enough, God, I'm so going to age myself. Anybody old enough to remember the Choose Your Own Adventure books, right? Where you read a little while and then you get to the end of a page and it's like, do you do this? Go to page this. Do you do this? Go to page that. That's how I feel when you do cyber right, when you do your career correctly. That is exactly how I feel cyber is as a career. Right? I'm at PwC. I get a call from a partner who says, hey, can you come build a security organization for a company that has never had a security organization before, but the board came down and said they must have one? Yep, let's turn the page and let's go do that adventure. And that turned into be one of the best career decisions I ever made in my life. Sitting down with lunch at Apollo, right? Neal, can you come do the exact same thing you just spent 3 years doing, but you do it in 1 year with 1/3 of the budget? Yep, let's go do that adventure. Do not be afraid to take adventures in your career. Back to our risk thing from earlier. It is risky to take adventures with your career, and you will not always be successful in those risky adventures. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But don't be afraid to take on those challenges as you grow in this career. Let's do a CTF challenge. That's fantastic you asked that. Inside of our Discord, there is a CTF looking for group. I highly encourage you to hop into Discord. And there are always people in Discord doing CTFs. Nitronic Deer, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I'm taking a new adventure as we speak. Thank you for saying this. I'm hoping for the best, but I can't be scared. Let's do this. Absolutely. Let's do this. Absolutely. I love this. Like, this is what I love to do. You got this, man. You got this. I've watched you grow over the years, Durst. I've watched you grow over the years. You're smart. You're a high performer. I don't worry about you. I know you got this. Het Patal over in YouTube says, thoughts on setting up a sim, use GPT the whole way through to learn for the first time, and then generating alerts and analyzing them. I love it. Do it. Easiest way to do that, go download Teapot. I think Beardseck's got a link for this. We've talked about this one. Go download Teapot. It's got an elastic back end. It's a honeypot in a box, basically. You can deploy it. You'll get tons of basically alert data from the honeypot put into an elastic sim. You can learn elastic. You can learn sim architecture. It's a great, great practice. You should absolutely do that. Absolutely do that. Appreciate you sharing those experiences all day, every day, baby. Hit me with your questions. That's the best way that I know to do storytelling, is to tell you my failures so that you can get it done. In order to get a Gov IT job, you need Sec plus correct. So you clarified that by saying a Gov job. Most Gov jobs are still doing 8570, I believe, or they're moving towards or away from that, whatever the case is. Unfortunately, because of 8570, you do have certain requirements. Oh. What are you drinking this morning? I had my normal chai latte, homemade, inside my black hat mug. We have demolished that within the first hour of the stream. I have Backup, which is a giant Nalgene bottle of water with pre-workout in it, because why have 400 milligrams of caffeine from the coffee bean directly when I can add another 200 milligrams of caffeine from a pre-workout? And you can see we're almost done with that. If I continue to drink that and continue to stream, third on deck is I got my trusty Coke Zero here as well. You see, I come prepared whenever it comes to my hydration. Hold on, I'm just checking my voicemail just in case this is my car delivery person. And it's not. Awesome. I'm expecting a delivery today. The delivery I'm expecting today is a completed Jeep Hemi upgrade for the Jeep, and I'm super excited for that. Cybersec Mom, thank you so much for all your gifted subs. Appreciate that. You've been a huge supporter of the stream for well over 5 years. I think I saw somewhere that you resubbed for 49 months. Also, if you're not aware, Cybersec Mom is the original creator of her own OODA loop emote inside of Twitch chat. That's how long she's been around. She's one of the OGs. I wish you the best of luck. You're always awesome. What are the top 3 things / interest on your mind this week? You hit golf, you hit Jeep. Top 3 things that are on my mind outside of golf and the Jeep. Next week, speaking of adventures, speaking of getting outside my comfort zone, next week I'm giving a talk in New Orleans that is very far outside my comfort zone. Very far outside my comfort zone. So I've been asked to do a Shark Tank style presentation for Query in front of a panel of CISOs. Now, typically, that wouldn't bother me. I can talk ad nauseum about Query. I love it. I've been with the company for 3 years. It's one of the first technologies I would have bought if it had been in existence when I was building security teams up from scratch, and that's me being realistic. I've said this from day one since I got introduced to the product in 2020. What's different about it and what's outside my comfort zone, I don't know if you can tell this. This may come as a shocker. Sit down if you haven't heard this before. I don't do scripted content very, very well. I know that may come as a shocker to most of you. As I don't do scripted content very, very well. I like to go off the cuff. I like to wing it. I like to go based on my feels and emotions. No scripted content here. No scripts allowed. Well, this Shark Tank style thing that I have to do next week, I have 8 minutes. I have to deliver my Shark Tank presentation in 8 minutes. And so I've been forced to create something in the form of a script that I have to memorize to be able to deliver in an 8-minute time period. And then I have to be ready to take 8 to 10 minutes worth of questions from a panel of CISOs. And so that is definitely outside my comfort zone. I'm a little nervous about that. I'm not even going to pretend to lie. I'm not nervous about speaking in front of a crowd, obviously. I'm not nervous about speaking in front of a panel of CISOs. I'm nervous about the delivery of it. And so that's on my mind this week. And what else is on my mind this week, and I can't say this enough. When people find out that I'm coming to their town, the amount of reach outs that I get from people to meet up humbles me so hard. And so I'm going to meet up with so many people in New Orleans next week. The amount of people that I've got on my calendar that have reached out to me to do meetups. I'm so excited to meet members of the community. I'm so excited to be able to sit and spend time with members of the community. I've got almost something happening every day with somebody from Cyber Insecurity who has reached out to me on DMs. And so I just remind everybody, if you want your chance, want an opportunity, please reach out to me. I absolutely love to meet with people in person. Please, please, please make time to come and meet with me next week if you are in and around the New Orleans area. But today, the one thing I'm thinking about today is getting my Jeep back. If you like, I got 3 meetings on my calendar. Shit, somebody added a 4th. Literally, as I looked at my calendar just now, I saw the invitation come in. I have 4 meetings on my calendar today now. You better believe that if that Jeep shows up in any of those 4 meetings, I am bouncing out. There will definitely be Jeep hype today. Nothing's wrong with the Jeep McGonigal. We dropped it off at Ruby Trucks back in November, and we got a Hemi put into it. Yeah, he hit a Hemi in his Jeep, y'all. That's right. I hit a Hemi in the Jeep, and so there's a Hemi that got put into it, and so it is getting delivered today. I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited. It's a 2015, and listen, like just in time, because we got Jeep Beach in April, and so I'm super excited to have the Hemi put in, and then to be on a road trip in April to Jeep Beach with the Hemi. Yes, Instagram Reels incoming. Make sure you are on the socials, are on Instagram. I will be posting those Reels up to social today. For once, golf is not the most important thing on my mind. Don't tell my golf coach that. Don't tell my golf coach that. You're an exceptional leader and cybersec professional. Make sure to tap into your leadership and speech patterns for your time in the Air Force. You're going to get this good. Cyber Insecurity, you have our full and unwavering support. Thank you, McGonigal. Hope you're being safe on the roads. Stay safe. Is manual transmission? No. It's actually getting the 8-speed automatic that's in the JLs in a vain attempt to keep the gas mileage down. Understood your points, and I think visibility over business niche and assets is the first key. Can we talk about LLM pen testing when AI is trying to give fake data in order to prove itself right? You said a couple of things there that I don't necessarily know that I think are directly correlating. When we talk about LLM pen testing, let's talk about pen testing AIs and pen testing LLM. Let's start by saying there are so few people who are actually producing real AI pen testing content that you should 1000% be skeptical of anybody offering courses claiming to be able to teach you how to hack LLMs. Let me say that unequivocally. Be skeptical of anybody offering you a course on how to hack LLMs. Two reasons why you should be skeptical. One, this technology is moving so fast. Things change in this realm on almost a weekly basis in some cases. The models change. The way they do modeling changed. Right? Things like DeepSeek, in terms of how they optimize the math, is changing. It is changing so fast, and I've said on this stream countless times, you can take it to the bank. I would argue 99% of cert offerings today are grifters and scams. There, I said it out loud. 99% are grifters and scams. And so if somebody, like I hate to say it, but if somebody dropped an AI LLM pen testing course today, it is 1,000% a scam. It is 1,000% a money-grabbing, grifting scam. Period, dot, end of discussion. So be skeptical. Be skeptical. If we're talking about using LLMs to assist with pen testing, I think that what you're describing in the AI is trying to give fake data in order to prove itself right. If you're allowing an AI to do hypothesis delivering of how to do a pen test, you're using LLMs wrong in the ability to assist you. Right? If you ask an LLM, I'm going to be really, really extreme with this. This is why I'm rubbing my eyes, is because I have to prepare myself for the level of extreme this is. If you ask an LLM, hey, help me hack NTLM on a Windows network environment, and it spits something out for you, and you take that and try to run it in Metasploit or on Kali or whatever the case is, and it is wrong, that's your fault. That's your fault. That's not the LLM's fault. It's not Grok's fault. It's not ChatGPT's fault. It's not their fault. That is your fault for literally trying to short circuit the entirety of the process to get the LLM to do 100% of the job for you. Right? That's it. Right now, the only LLM usage that you should be doing to assist with pen testing should be a replacement for something like Google. Right? You should be using it to help you find answers faster. But you have to know the question to ask. You have to know how to ask it, and you have to ask it the right way. Exactly. Use them for reference. Use them for reference. You do have to be an expert prompter. Nitronic Deer is 100% right. Right? You should use it as an listen, here's what I do think. I unequivocally believe this. Companies like Perplexity, the deep seek options in like ChatGPT and Grok, where it does go out and scour the internet and attempt to make those decisions based on what it can find out there, I think those are the best uses of LLM today. But just as I say that, the same thing would happen if I'd like to believe some of you would do the same thing if you Googled something as if you used an LLM. If you Googled how to use Metasploit for X, you're going to attempt to verify that information before you run out into a production environment to execute on it. And if you don't, enjoy your Friday. But I'm pretty sure most of you would Google, how do I use Responder? You would read a tutorial. You would then stand up an environment to test it to validate that you knew how to use it. Right? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you new age hackers just read shit on the internet and then run out into the production environment to do it. I don't know. But most of you sensible people would try to test things before you use them. And then an LLM comes around and you ask an LLM and you're like, how do I do Responder? And then the LLM tells you and you're like, it's AI. I ain't got to test this into a lab. I'm going to run this out in production. Come on. It's the same process, right? Ask the LLM, get the answers from the LLM, because you know what? The LLM can search the internet faster than you can. But then use that, turn right back around, test it, build it, verify it, learn the knowledge, and then go out and execute. This gets the cynical comment of the day right there. I love this one from My Leah. The most cynical comment of the day right here. Who uses LLMs? Everyone knows the best way to get the best answers to go on Reddit and say you know the best way, followed by something that is wrong. Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. That's exactly the best way to get the right answer. Go on R Master Hacker. Some of the best Reddit in the world is on R Master Hacker. Best advice in the world is on R Master Hacker. Ty, that right there shows how much love Neal has for the industry. Speaking truth bombs here, baby. Speaking truth bombs here. Oh, man. Speaking of Ty, hey, yo, Neal, what's up? When you come in the Midwest? Not soon enough. Definitely not when it's cold. I need a golf tournament. I need to go find a VGA or an APT golf tournament out in the Midwest. We are indeed coming up on 2 hours. Will you see if anybody's streaming, Brian? We are coming up on 2 hours. Let's have a sobering heart-to-heart moment really fast. Lake Tahoe does have some nice courses. I play two tournament leagues. The Veterans Golf Association and the Amateur Players Tour. If any of them are playing tournaments in your area, let me know. And if we can make it work out, maybe I'll come play a tournament in your area. You can come caddy for me, or you can just sit in the golf cart, drive me around. You get 4 hours of watch me play tournaments and free mentoring as well. Couple quick reminders. Sub chat tonight. I think the crew's going to be in there probably about 8:30, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you've not been in there, I'd highly recommend you go in there and participate in sub chat, because next week is something super special. Next week, Chris Pogue is going to come do a sub chat exclusive. Everybody give a huge thanks to Maz for setting that up and coordinating that. He's going to come and answer your questions in a more intimate setting. If you were one of the lucky people who got gifted a sub today from Cybersec Mom, thank her, because she's awesome. And take that and use it to your advantage and come see what sub chat's all about. You'll see how awesome it is. Yes, sub chat does work now. It is working again. Come participate. Huh? Oh, cool. We'll go raid fix it then. We'll go say hi to fix it. Yes, sub chat is back working again. So real quick, if you've not seen the announcement, we have re-enabled sub chat. If you are a subscriber on Twitch, or if you are a member on YouTube, you have access to sub chat. Great opportunity to collab with other cybersecurity professionals. I myself frequently am in there as well. And then, as you can tell by us bringing Chris Pogue in there, we're going to do more exclusive events inside of there on a more scheduled basis. With the Chris Pogue event, we're going to be giving away a 3-book bundle with this next week as well. Let's talk about giveaways as a whole. You do need to be in Discord to participate in giveaways. So make sure you're in Discord. Make sure you are on the giveaways channel. You do have notifications turned on for the giveaway channel. If you don't read the announcement, and that's fine, let me say it out loud. Let me say it unequivocally for everybody in the back. At no point in time do I take any profits of any revenue from our streaming endeavors. Period, dot, end of discussion. So we're giving away books. for Chris Pogue, any money that is accumulated from subs, from memberships, from ad revenue from Twitch, any of that money that comes in through Twitch, that money is used to buy the books for the giveaway. That money is used to buy Try Hack Me vouchers. That money is used to buy Hack the Box vouchers. If we had enough money, we would buy Sans courses. Dear God, maybe I'll get lucky enough. We'll get that big. We'll have enough money to buy Sans courses. Any and all money generated on this stream, period, dot, end of discussion, full stop, goes right back to the community. I'm working with several folks in the community to provide a transparent ledger so that you can see the money that comes in through all of your kindness and how that money gets redistributed back to the community. My commitment to you is I take zero money from this channel. It all goes right back into you. I promise you that. Pinky swear. It's all for you. So with that being said, we use that to be able to provide these types of things for you. Take advantage of them, utilize them, let me know what more of them we can do, and we will make them awesome for you. We will make them awesome for you. I promise you that. With that being said, we're going to go raid Fix It since she's streaming. We absolutely love Fix It. She does awesome stuff. You got this, Brian? Or you need me to do it? Okay. If you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, thanks for hanging out with us this morning. You guys go have fun. If you're on Twitch, please hang out for just a second while we go raid Fix It. I really appreciate every single one of you. It is always the best experience in the world to come stream with you guys in the morning. You all are my family. I absolutely love you. Remember to stay awesome, and I believe in you. If you've not participated in a raid before, you're going to get a pop-up that's going to ask you to participate in a raid. What we do is we take our entire channel, we go to another streamer's channel, somebody who's doing awesome work and giving back to the community. We bring our awesome hype. Fix It's a regular. We love supporting her. She does really great work. I know you guys are going to be on your best behavior, and you're going to bring awesome vibes to her and help her shepherd in the weekend over in Sweden. Sweden. Words are hard this morning. Whether you're on the red side or the blue side, we're still deciding. Stay awesome. Let's go say hi to Fix It. I'm just waiting for Brian to do his job.
will be